In a world where Russian aggression looms large, Europe's new High Representative is swooping in like a Cape Crusader with a diplomatic passport. Kaja Kallas, former Prime Minister of Estonia, is strapping on the EU's power suit this December. In this video, we're breaking down how she climbed the ladder, how she's planning to send Putin packing, and the hurdles that could trip her up. And FYI, that dress is not photoshopped or color corrected. I just wish all leaders had her fashion sense. Seriously, it makes for killer thumbnails. Hi, I'm Greg, not yet EU-sponsored influencer, but aiming to be. Kaja Kallas' rise to the top of EU's diplomatic ladder as Europe's Iron Lady reads like a geopolitical thriller. House of Cards, but with a Baltic twist. Born in 1977 in Soviet-occupied Estonia, Kallas didn't need to crack open a history book to learn about Russia's imperialistic dream. She was living it. With a father like Sim Kallas, who was busy helping Estonia pull off the ultimate David versus Goliath smackdown, it's no wonder she developed an attitude that makes even the Kremlin flinch. Oh, and FYI, Papa Kallas wasn't just any politician. He was former Prime Minister of Estonia between 2004 and 2009. He was the EU Commissioner for Administrative Affairs, Audit and Anti-Fraud, and the EU Commissioner for Transport between 2010 and 2014. So, here's a question for the comment section. Does coming from a family of elected officials makes you more or less competent?
Dictators, autocrats, and kings need not apply. Side effects may include delusions of grandeur, a severe allergy to term limits, and an uncontrollable urge to hoard power.
Fast forward to 2010, and Kallas is ready to shake up the Estonian Reform Party like a rock star smashing a guitar on stage. Think Kurt Cobain, but with policies instead of power chords. By 2014, she's already in the European Parliament, making waves with her relentless focus on digital innovation and anti-corruption, because someone had to clean up the mess. Her no-nonsense commitment to transparency and the rule of law turned her into a political heavyweight. And by 2021, she wasn't just breaking the glass ceiling, she was shattering it as she was sending shards flying, becoming Estonia's first female prime minister. She quickly established herself as one of the EU's fiercest hawks on Russia, pushing for sanctions with the kind of intensity you'd expect from someone who just found out they're out of coffee. Well before the Ukraine crisis hit, she was one of the first EU leaders to sound the alarm about Putin's expansionist designs. Her relentless push for a collective stance made her the obvious pick for the EU's High Representative. But let's not kid ourselves, this wasn't just another notch on her career belt. It was a strategic power move by the EU to send a message that's louder than a stadium rock concert. It's here to defend its turf, and Moscow better take note. Kaja Kallas isn't here to play nice. She's on a mission to catapult EU's defense into the 21st century. Her plan is to end Europe's being the awkward sidekick of the United States in defense spending. She pushed for the creation of a new EU Defense Industry Commissioner post so member states can swap resources and strategies like they're trading nuclear launch codes at the SPY convention. With leaders vowing to ramp up defense spending and arms production like they're gearing up for an apocalyptic showdown, the EU's military might is set to get a serious upgrade. Picture a defense budget supercharged and ready for action. And as for the stockpile of bullets, it's not just a display of force, it's a clear message. We mean business. Just ask John Wick, though unlike Wick, Kallas isn't up for revenge over a puppy, she's aiming up to protect an entire kennel of democracies. And just to keep things spicy, Kallas was one of the proponents behind the move to use frozen Russian assets to rebuild Ukraine, a decision that practically screamed, you break it, you buy it. But she's no fool. Brute force alone won't cut it. In today's world, wars are as much about disinformation as they are about tanks. As Prime Minister, she warned that the Kremlin is already in your pockets, phones, and apps, waging war on your mind. Kallas is taking on Russian propaganda with the ferocity of a Black Friday stampede, making it crystal clear Russia's days of playing Europe like a fiddler are over. And here's the kicker. Russia declared her a wanted person, which isn't just a badge of honor, it's practically a certification of her qualifications as Europe's top defense hawk. If you're ruffling enough feathers, bird puns included, you're definitely doing something right. Sure, the warrant might be symbolic, but don't be surprised if she frames it and hangs it next to her diplomas. And speaking of validation, hit the subscribe button if you think I am doing something right. Kallas' stance on Russia hasn't just won her admirers, it's turned her into a human lightning rod for criticism. First is that she might get laser focused on Russia getting geopolitical tunnel vision, and while staring down the Kremlin, the rest of the world hotspots are popping up like a teenager's acne. Second, her aggressive tactics could also blow up in her face within the EU. Countries like Hungary, led by Viktor over my sanctioned corpse Orban, aren't exactly lining up to support her. Her crusade to bulk up the defense budget is hitting the brick of EU penny pinchers who'd rather burn euros than spend them on another Cold War sequel. And third, a few months ago in the game of who's going to be EU's next top diplomat, the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Vice President of the European Commission, might sound important, but despite the grand title, critics say the job involves little power in practice as it is still hoarded by national governments. If the Iron Lady of the Baltics wants to whip up Europe's defense into shape, she will need to employ a deft combination of principled leadership and diplomatic finesse. Her real challenge? Getting a room full of EU leaders to march to the same beat when it comes to defense. Kallas is crashing into the EU like an action hero on a mission, but instead of avenging puppies, she's out to secure Europe's future. If Europe doesn't bulk up its defense, Kallas will make sure they feel every ounce of that wake-up call. For those still dragging their feet, she's ready to smash through the complacency with all the subtlety of a wrecking ball. Europe's security has been teetering on the edge for too long. She seemingly knows that the time for gentle diplomacy is over, and honestly, it's about damn time. Hey, thank you for getting this far. Click here to subscribe. Hope to see you next week. Bye-bye!